Welcome back to the channel USA Coins 69, where small coins can lead to big surprises. Today, we're taking a closer look at a coin that most of us have handled 100 times without thinking twice, the Roosevelt dime. But not just any dime, we're talking about the 1990 Roosevelt $1 dime. And if you think a modern dime can't be worth much, you're about to be blown away. By the end of this video, you're going to learn how a simple coin you might carry in your pocket right now could actually be worth thousands of dollars, yes, even if it's from as recent as 1990. Stick around, because what we reveal at the end might have you running to check your change. Let's rewind the clock to 1990. The internet was still new, cell phones were bricks, and the average gallon of gas cost just over $1. While the world was changing, one thing remained constant in the pockets of Americans: the Roosevelt dime. This 10-cent coin has been in circulation since 1946, introduced shortly after the death of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. It was a tribute to the man who helped lead the United States through the Great Depression and World War II, and who also played a huge role in founding the March of Dimes to fight polio. On the obverse, or front, of the 1990 Roosevelt dime, you'll see his left-facing profile. Above him, the word Liberty. In front of his face, the motto, "In God We Trust." Just below his neck, the year, 1990. And nestled beside the date, the mint mark. Now that little mint mark might seem insignificant, but it can make all the difference when it comes to a coin's rarity and value. In 1990, dimes were produced at multiple U.S. mints: Philadelphia, which uses the P mint mark, Denver, D, and San Francisco, S, for proof coins. Let's break it down. Most of the dimes from 1990 are common. They were made in the hundreds of millions and used for everything from vending machines to laundry. But within that massive production, a few extraordinary errors and rare versions slipped through the cracks. And those are the coins collectors are hunting for. Now, let's talk about what makes the 1990 Roosevelt dime so interesting. First, the no-S proof dime. That's right, proof coins are struck with extra care and detail, usually made for collectors. The San Francisco Mint produced these coins, and they're supposed to have an S mint mark. But occasionally, due to a production oversight, some proof dimes from this era were struck without any mint mark at all. Imagine this: a proof coin, polished to perfection, struck on a high-quality planchet, but missing the very mint mark that identifies where it was made. That's not just a mistake, it's a collector's dream, but the story doesn't end there. There are also known off-center strikes, die clashes, double dies, and repunched mint marks in the 1990 Roosevelt dime series. Each of these minting errors increases the coin's uniqueness and its value. Let's say you're holding a 1990 dime that looks slightly strange. The lettering seems shadowed. The date appears doubled. Or the image is off-center. These are all signs that you might be holding a rare variety. Even coins without visible errors can be worth serious money if they are in exceptionally high-grade condition. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70. Most coins that pass through thousands of hands over 30 years are nowhere near perfect. But once in a while, a 1990 Roosevelt dime surfaces that has been perfectly preserved: no scratches, no blemishes, brilliant luster. A coin graded MS 68 or higher, that's mint state 68 on the Sheldon scale, is almost flawless. And for collectors, that kind of perfection is pure gold. Combine that condition with a rare error, and now you're talking about the kind of coin that doesn't just get tossed into a piggy bank, it goes to auction houses. And what about the value? Here's the exciting part. While most 1990 Roosevelt dimes are worth just face value, and some in average circulated condition might go for a couple of bucks, there are a select few, those with rare errors and in high mint state condition, that command serious attention from collectors. So serious, in fact, that one rare example of the 1990 Roosevelt dime, complete with a unique error and graded at a top-tier level, was valued at an astonishing $47,500. Yes, $47,500. For a single 10-cent coin, and it could be sitting in someone's drawer right now, completely unrecognized. That's why coin collecting is so thrilling. It's not just about history, it's about the possibility of finding something incredible hiding in plain sight. So here's your challenge: check your change. Look through your coin jar. Pull out that stash of coins you've been meaning to sort. If you spot a 1990 dime, take a close look. Is it missing the mint mark? Is the image off-center or doubled? Is it bright, shiny, and flawless? It just might be your lucky day. Today, we're zooming in on a coin that millions of people have handled without a second thought, a coin so common that you'd never expect it to be worth more than a cup of coffee. But hold on, because this seemingly ordinary piece of change could actually be worth thousands of dollars. We're talking about the 1987 Roosevelt dime, yes, a 10-cent coin that could hold more value than you ever imagined. Whether you're a seasoned collector, a casual hobbyist, or someone who just loves the idea of finding treasure in everyday places, this video is for you. By the end, you'll know exactly what to look for, and who knows, you might be holding a tiny fortune in your hand without even realizing it. Let's start with a bit of history. The Roosevelt dime has been in circulation since 1946, honoring Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. He led the nation through some of its most difficult times, including the Great Depression and World War II. The dime was chosen to carry his image not only because of his leadership but also due to his support for the March of Dimes campaign to fight polio, a disease he himself battled. Fast forward to 1987. America was in the final years of the Cold War. Technology was accelerating. The economy was recovering. And among the jingling coins in every American's pocket was the Roosevelt dime. On the surface, the 1987 dime doesn't look any different from the ones before or after it, but the secret to its value lies in the details. Let's break down the design first. On the obverse side of the coin, we see a sharp left-facing profile of Roosevelt. Above his head is the word Liberty. To the left, the national motto, "In God We Trust." Underneath Roosevelt's neck is the date, 1987, and to the right of the date, you'll often find a small letter, the mint mark. This is one of the most important things to check on your coin. In 1987, dimes were minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Coins from Philadelphia typically have a P mint mark, Denver coins show a D, and San Francisco coins, usually made for proof sets, carry an S. The mint mark can reveal a lot about where the coin came from, and in some rare cases, whether it was a mistake that could make it extremely valuable. Now, let's talk about what makes some 1987 dimes worth serious money. Most of these coins are common, they were minted in the hundreds of millions. But a small number of them stand out for a few critical reasons. First up, minting errors. These are the holy grail for collectors. Some 1987 dimes were struck with what's known as no-S proof errors. These are coins that should have a mint mark from the San Francisco Mint but don't. This mistake is extremely rare, and when found in perfect proof condition, these coins can fetch stunning prices at auction. Other valuable errors include double dies, where elements of the coin's design, such as the date or lettering, appear slightly doubled due to a mistake during the striking process. Then there are off-center strikes, where the coin isn't properly aligned when struck, leading to a lopsided design. And let's not forget about die cracks, clipped planchets, and repunched mint marks, all of which are rare and highly sought after by collectors. Another key factor: condition. Coin collectors use a grading scale from 1 to 70 to rate the quality of a coin. A grade of MS, or mint state, means the coin has never been in circulation, it's crisp, clean, and shows no signs of wear. The higher the number, the more perfect the coin. Most 1987 dimes you'll find in circulation are heavily worn and have little collector value. But if you find one that's flawless, bright, and shiny, it might just be in the upper mint state range, and that changes everything. Color and luster also matter. Dimes that still reflect light and have that original shine are far more desirable than dull, worn ones. Combine that with a rare error or unusual feature, and suddenly you're holding a dime that no longer belongs in your piggy bank, it belongs in a collector's showcase. Now, here's something a lot of people don't know: even dimes from this recent era can be worth thousands if they tick the right boxes. It's not just about age, it's about rarity, condition, and uniqueness. So here's what you should do. Go through your spare change. Check that coin jar you've been ignoring. Look through that dusty roll of coins sitting in your drawer. If you find a 1987 dime, inspect it carefully. Look for unusual markings, a missing mint mark, a doubled design, or a flawless surface. And if you think you found something special, get it graded by a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. You could be holding something far more valuable than 10 cents, and now for the moment you've all been waiting for. Among the rarest 1987 Roosevelt dimes, those struck with a minting error, preserved in pristine mint state condition, and verified by professionals, one was given a market value of an unbelievable $40,300. Yes, you heard that right. $40,300. For a dime. That's the magic of numismatics. That's the thrill of hunting for value in the most unexpected places. And that's why collectors continue to search, to examine, and to dream, because every once in a while, a coin comes along that turns ordinary into extraordinary. Today's video could change the way you look at everyday change forever. Today, we're taking a closer look at a coin that most people overlook every single day. It's small, it's copper and silver in color, and it's probably passed through 100 hands since the day it was made. But here's the twist, it might be worth way more than 10 cents. In fact, some versions of this coin are among the most exciting and valuable dimes in recent U.S. coin history. That coin is none other than the 1977 Roosevelt $1 dime. So grab your coin jars, because after you hear what makes this coin so special, you'll want to start searching your own collection, and fast. Let's set the stage. It's 1977. America is in a period of transformation. Gas is cheap, the first Star Wars movie just hit theaters, and disco is dominating the airwaves. But deep inside the U.S. Mint, another small piece of history is being struck. Millions and millions of Roosevelt dimes. Now on the surface, the 1977 Roosevelt dime looks exactly like the ones that came before it. On the front, or obverse side, is the familiar portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt, 32nd President of the United States, the man who led the country through the Great Depression and World War II. Above his head, liberty. In front of his profile, in God we trust. And right below his neckline, the year, 1977. To the right of the date, you'll notice a small letter. That tiny detail is the mint mark, and it's one of the first things you should check. That little letter tells you where the coin was minted. In 1977, dimes were struck in Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, marked with a D, and San Francisco, marked with an S, mostly for proof coins. Flip the coin over, and you'll see the reverse side, where the U.S. Mint's artistry really shines. The reverse features a torch in the center, flanked by an olive branch on the left and an oak branch on the right. This design symbolizes liberty, peace, and strength. The words, United States of America, circle the top, and beneath the image, $1 dime. It's a small design, but packed with meaning. Now here's where things start to get exciting. While the 1977 Roosevelt dime was produced in large numbers, not all of them were created equal. Within that year's run are a few exceptional coins that slipped through the cracks, error coins, high-grade specimens, and rare varieties that collectors are willing to pay huge amounts of money for. Let's break down exactly what makes some 1977 dimes worth way more than face value. First, minting errors. These are the mistakes that happen during the coin's production, when the machines misfire, misalign, or malfunction. The results? Coins with wild, unexpected features. We're talking about off-center strikes, double dies, clipped planchets, and die cracks, all of which can dramatically increase a coin's rarity. One of the most sought-after errors is the double die, where parts of the design, like the date or the lettering, appear to be doubled. These happen when the die used to strike the coin shifts between impressions, leaving a shadow-like image. Another exciting variety is the off-center strike, where the design is not properly aligned with the coin blank, resulting in a partial or lopsided image. If the date is still visible, these can be especially valuable. Next, proof coins from 1977. These were specially made for collectors and struck at the San Francisco Mint. These coins are shinier, more detailed, and struck with greater pressure than regular circulation coins. While most proof dimes have an S mint mark, occasionally one will be struck without a mint mark, making it an incredibly rare, no S proof, and a hot item in the coin collecting world. And then we have grade and condition. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with anything over 60 considered mint state. A coin in MS 65 or higher is rare, especially one that has never been touched, scratched, or tarnished. These flawless coins, especially when combined with a rare error, are the kind that end up in high-profile auctions and private collections. So how do you know if your 1977 Roosevelt dime is one of the valuable ones? Start by inspecting it carefully. Use a magnifying glass and good lighting. Look for doubling in the letters or numbers. Check for unusual shapes around the edge or missing parts of the design. Is the coin perfectly centered, or slightly off? Is there a mint mark? If so, is it clearly struck, or does it look a little off? If you find anything unusual, the next step is to have the coin professionally evaluated. Trusted grading companies like PCGS or NGC can authenticate the coin, determine its grade, and officially document its value. A certified error coin in mint condition isn't just a cool collector's item, it can be a serious investment. Now, the moment you've been waiting for. Among all the 1977 Roosevelt dimes ever struck, a small handful have surfaced with exceptional features, rare errors, flawless conditions, or combinations of both. One of these coins, professionally graded and verified for its rarity, has reached a valuation of an absolutely jaw-dropping $55,700. Yes, you heard that right. $55,700. For a 10-cent coin. That's why coin collecting continues to thrill and surprise people all over the world. Because sometimes, the biggest treasure comes in the smallest package. So before you toss that next dime into a vending machine or donation jar, take a closer look. You never know what might be hiding in your change. Today, we're turning our attention to a coin that you've probably handled dozens, if not hundreds of times. It's one of the smallest coins in your pocket, but don't be fooled by its size. This tiny piece of metal could hold a massive secret. That's right, today we're diving deep into the 1991 Roosevelt 1 dime, a 10-cent coin that might be sitting in your change jar right now. But what makes this coin so special? Why are collectors searching high and low for it? And how can something so common turn out to be so valuable? Well, grab your magnifying glass, because by the end of this video, you might just be inspired to dig through every last coin you own. Let's rewind a little to set the stage. The year is 1991. The world is changing fast. The internet is just beginning to find its way into homes. CDs are replacing cassette tapes. Michael Jordan is dominating the basketball court, and the Cold War is officially winding down. But amidst all these global shifts, something small and shiny is being struck by the billions at U.S. Mint facilities across the country, the 1991 Roosevelt dime. Now, at first glance, this coin doesn't appear any different from other Roosevelt dimes. It's just 17.91 millimeters in diameter, made of a copper-nickel clad composition, and weighs about 2.27 grams. It seems ordinary. But here's where things get fascinating. Let's talk design. On the obverse side, or the front of the coin, we find a detailed portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. Roosevelt's legacy isn't just in politics, he also inspired the creation of the March of Dimes, a campaign to fight polio, a disease he personally battled. Above his head, the word Liberty. Just below, In God We Trust. Underneath the neck is the date, 1991, and just beside it, a tiny letter. That, my friends, is the mint mark. In 1991, Roosevelt dimes were minted in 3 primary locations, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Dimes from the Philadelphia Mint carry a P mint mark, those from Denver have a D, and San Francisco dimes, typically proof coins for collectors, are marked with an S. Here's the thing, most dimes struck in 1991 are incredibly common. They were made for everyday use, and millions upon millions were produced. But every once in a while, something unusual happens during the minting process. A small mistake. A misalignment. A missing mark. And suddenly, that everyday dime becomes something extraordinary. Let's talk about the kinds of errors and variations that make certain 1991 Roosevelt dimes incredibly valuable. First on the list, no-proof dimes. These are coins that were struck at the San Francisco Mint but accidentally left off the mint mark. Since proof coins are carefully made for collectors, a missing mint mark is an extremely rare error, and collectors are willing to pay a premium for these rarities. Another highly desirable error is the double die, where parts of the coin's design, such as the date, the motto, or Roosevelt's features, appear to be duplicated or shadowed. This happens when the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly between strikes, and it can dramatically increase a coin's value. Then there's the off-center strike, where the coin blank isn't properly aligned with the die, causing a portion of the design to be missing or shifted. Or even clipped planchets, where a piece of the coin's edge is missing due to a cutting error. These types of mistakes are often easy to spot and can be worth hundreds, or even thousands, depending on the severity and condition. Now let's talk about grade. Coin collectors grade coins on a scale from 1 to 70, with MS or mint state grade starting at 60 and going up to the perfect score of 70. A 1991 Roosevelt dime that was never used in circulation, shows no signs of wear, and retains its original shine can receive a high mint state grade. And in the world of coin collecting, a high-grade coin is like striking gold. The most valuable Roosevelt dimes are usually those that are both highly graded and feature a rare error. Combine those two factors, and you've got a coin that can skyrocket in value. So how can you tell if your 1991 dime is special? Start by checking the mint mark. Does it look normal, or is it missing? Use a magnifying glass to inspect the details. Is anything doubled? Off-center? Does the coin look unusually shiny, almost brand new? If so, you might be looking at a gem. If your coin looks promising, the next step is to have it professionally graded and certified. Trusted services like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company, can give your coin an official grade, identify any errors, and determine its market value. These services are essential if you plan to sell or insure a rare coin. And now, it's time for the moment you've been waiting for. Among all the 1991 Roosevelt dimes out there, only a tiny handful have been discovered in flawless condition with rare minting errors, and one of these coins, verified and graded by a professional, was valued at an incredible $48,900. Yes, you heard that right. $48,900. For a 10-cent coin, this is why the world of coin collecting is so exciting. Because in a handful of change, in an old drawer, in your pocket right now, you might be holding something that's worth more than a car, more than a vacation, maybe even more than your monthly salary. So don't overlook those dimes. Take a second look, investigate, and stay curious. You never know what kind of treasure might be hiding in plain sight. Today, we're diving into the fascinating story of a coin that's probably slipped through your fingers countless times without a second thought. It's small, shiny, and worth just 10 cents at face value, but what if I told you that the 1980 Roosevelt 1 dime could be hiding something far more valuable? The year 1980 was a time of change and growth in the United States. Ronald Reagan had just been elected president, the economy was shifting, and culture was evolving rapidly. And as millions of dimes rolled out of the U.S. Mint, a few special ones quietly took shape, destined to become rare collectors' treasures decades later. The Roosevelt dime itself carries a rich history. First introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, the coin's design has stayed remarkably consistent for over 70 years. On the front, you see Roosevelt's dignified profile, a tribute to the man who inspired the fight against polio and led the country through some of its toughest times. Above his head, the word liberty proudly proclaims the nation's values, while in God we trust reminds us of the country's faith traditions. Below Roosevelt, you'll find the year, 1980, along with a tiny but crucial letter known as the mint mark. This letter tells you where the coin was made, Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. What many casual holders of this dime don't realize is that subtle differences in mint marks, rare errors, and the condition of the coin can drastically affect its value. The 1980 Roosevelt dime was minted in massive numbers, billions, in fact. But despite this high production, some examples are surprisingly scarce, particularly those in pristine, uncirculated condition or ones with unique minting anomalies. Let's break down what makes the 1980 Roosevelt dime worth more than just 10 cents. First, we have the mint marks, P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, and S for San Francisco, which usually produced proof coins. While most circulated coins show their mint marks clearly, some exceptional coins have mint marks that are faint, misplaced, or entirely missing, a phenomenon that can turn an ordinary dime into a rare collectible. Another exciting factor collectors seek are minting errors. These can include off-center strikes, double dies where the design appears doubled, or clipped planchets where the coin's edge is partially cut off. These errors occur when something goes slightly wrong in the minting process, and each unique flaw increases the coin's rarity and appeal. Of course, the condition of a coin is king in the collector's world. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with anything above 60 considered mint state, meaning the coin looks as if it just left the mint, showing no signs of wear. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin, especially if it carries a rare mint mark or an error. The 1980 Roosevelt dime also features some special proof coins from the San Francisco Mint. These proof coins, made with specially polished dies and metal blanks, exhibit exceptional detail and a mirror-like finish. A proof 1980 dime with an error or in flawless condition can fetch a significantly higher price than its circulating counterparts. Now, if you're wondering how much this coin could be worth, here's the big reveal: a pristine 1980 Roosevelt $1 dime, especially one with a rare mint mark or an error and graded by a professional service, can command a stunning price of $46,400. Yes, that's right, what most people see as mere pocket change could actually be worth $46,400 if it ticks the right boxes. So next time you find yourself digging through coins, take a closer look at those little dimes. Inspect the mint marks, look for unusual marks or doubles, and if you find something special, consider having it professionally graded. You might just uncover a hidden treasure. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1980 Roosevelt $1 dime, hit the like button, subscribe for more amazing coin stories, and ring the notification bell so you never miss out on the next big discovery. Drop a comment if you've ever found a rare coin in your change. Your story could inspire someone else's hunt. Until next time, keep collecting and stay curious. Who knows? Your next dime might be worth $46,400.